afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Tower Dairy's virtual chat and farm tour. I am Brittany, and I am here with the Discover Dairy program, and we are so excited that you are joining us today as we get to meet Farmer Angie and, of course, her adorable adopted calf, Pearl. Today's tour wouldn't be possible without the generous support of the Midwest Dairy and the Dairy Excellence Foundation. So, thank you to both of those organizations for making today possible. First, this live tour is part of the Adopt a Cow program. And for anyone that is new to Discover Dairy and the Adopt a Cow program, it is a free online resource that covers Common Core standards in math, reading, and science while using dairy concepts to teach the lessons. Those resources can be found at www.discoverdairy.com. And actually, if we could go ahead and get discoverdairy.com put in our chat feature, that would be great. That way you have it to copy and paste. We'd also love for you to join the Adopt a Cow Fund next year if you're interested. So registration will open August 1st, and that can be found at discoverdairy.com/adopt. Next, as everyone continues to join us live, we welcome you, but you can see that the chat feature is enabled, and we've seen that many of you have found that chat feature already, which is really exciting, and it's great to see where you all are from. But feel free to use that chat feature as we go to be able to ask Farmer Angie any questions you have. She is definitely happy to answer those. All right. Well, I am pleased to introduce you to Farmer Angie at the Tower Dairy. Hey, Farmer Angie, how are you doing?
Hi, Brittany. I'm great. How are you?
Oh, we are doing wonderful. Well, we are thrilled to be at your farm. I know things are a little bit different for us today. Just for everyone that's joining, it is raining right now, so we are moved indoors here. But I'll let Farmer Angie take it away and give an introduction of her and her family, and we'll get rolling here. Go ahead.
All right. Good afternoon, friends. I am so happy to be here with Pearl and to talk to you guys. I am actually a high school librarian by trade, so I spend a lot of time in a classroom too, just like you guys do. I love school and I hope you all enjoy it as well. But when I am not at school, I farm with my husband and my husband's family. We are a third generation family farm located in Southwest Minnesota. We milk 250 Holsteins. They're all purebred. We don't have any brown Swiss or any Jerseys or anything like that. They're all Holsteins, maybe someday. We farm, as I said, with my husband's parents. His grandparents started this farm in 1922. So we are almost a century farm, which is pretty cool. It means we've been in business for 100 years. In addition to our 250 Holsteins, we farm about 480 acres with sustainability and environmentalism in mind. We grow alfalfa, we grow corn, we grow some cover crops, which means we plant another crop after a crop. And all of that goes back into feed for our cows to make sure that they're well fed and very well taken care of. Southwest Minnesota is great. We love living here. We love what we do here, but the weather in April in Minnesota is tricky. It's either 80 degrees and super nice, probably where some of you are today, or it's 20 and snowing. Today we happen to get rain and drizzle, so we couldn't have Pearl outside because the internet doesn't work in our tin and metal barns. So Pearl is actually in my garage with me today. She's a little bit half in, she's a little bit half out, but you guys can see her and we will still have a lot of fun with her anyway.
Wonderful. Oh my goodness. So we would love, yeah, if we can get some close-ups of Pearl here. And gosh, she is getting big. So what does she weigh approximately now, and how big? She's almost as tall as you.
Pearl, actually, she is. I am 5'3", and Pearl is about probably close to almost 5 feet. She's probably 4'8", 4'9" or so. She's getting big. She was actually just 6 months old yesterday. So you guys got to all watch her grow up and learn and get big and do all kinds of fun things as she's growing here. Like we said, she's almost 5 feet tall. She weighs about 450 pounds. She eats about, I have some samples here to show you guys. She eats about 50 pounds of the fresh green hay here that I have a sample of. She eats about 15 pounds of this every day. And this is good. It's got lots of vitamins and minerals in it, lots of vitamin A, lots of vitamin D, stuff that helps you grow big and strong. Just like your mom tells you to eat your spinach, we tell Pearl to eat her alfalfa. It's also something called roughage, which is really good for her stomach. It helps keep the acid in her stomach balanced. keeps her healthy that way. And in addition to her 15 pounds of hay, she eats about 7 pounds of this grain mix. And we're just going to zoom in a little bit on here. You can see there's some protein pellets in there. There's some oats. There's some corn. There's a well-blended vitamin and mineral ration in here that ensures she grows up to be big and strong and the healthy milk cow that we like to see on Tower Dairy.
I believe so that grain is pretty sweet, right? It's almost like them eating a dessert, right?
So those brown pellets that you saw are actually molasses. So it's very sweet, it's very sugary. It's kind of like syrup on your pancakes, but good for you.
Ooh, so that definitely does sound delicious. So Pearl is getting so big. And, before we go ahead and go to some of our tour videos, we do have a couple questions that were already coming in. First of all, and it's about Pearl specifically. So first, how did you choose the name for Pearl?
How do we choose the name Pearl? Pearl was named by my 9-year-old daughter, Ruby. Her name is Ruby, and she's kind of into gemstones. And so she figured Pearl was a pretty fitting name. And she's also a little bit more white than she is black.
Awesome. And another great question, which we might actually be able to, we'll be able to see some videos that you had taken that we'll show later. But someone asked, does Pearl like to play with other cows?
Yes, Pearl is actually, when it's not raining and when my internet works, she is in what we call a group housing, which means she is in a pen with about 25 other calves that are her age. So she gets lots of social interaction. She gets to run and play and snuggle up at night with a whole lot of her other friends.
Oh my goodness. I'm sure she enjoys hanging out with all of her friends. And I believe we'll get to see that in the video a little bit later. But what we're going to go ahead and do, first of all, we welcome you to go ahead and put in any questions that you have into that chat feature. Farmer Angie will go ahead and answer them live. But what we're going to do is we're going to show a few recorded videos here, actually getting to meet Farmer Angie's kids, getting a little intro, and then also getting to see the cows. So as Farmer Angie said earlier, they don't have great service in their barns, but we wanted you to still get the opportunity to see that. So we're going to go ahead and switch over to our recordings, and so you can get to meet her kids and the cows. So give us 1 second to switch over here, and then we'll come back to Farmer Angie that you can ask any questions that you have from the cows. All right, we're going to go ahead and get switched over.
We're the Tower Dairy and welcome to our farm tour. We're so excited that you could join us today. I'm Farmer Angie and I am here with my two little farmers, Ruby, who is 9, and Adam, who is 7. And they're so excited to share our farm and what we do with you today on the Adopt-A-Calf chat. So before we move on to the rest of our farm though, I'm going to ask Ruby and Adam a couple questions because really they're kids just like you. So, Ruby, what is your favorite part of living on a farm?
Feeding cows.
Adam, what is your favorite part of living on a farm?
All the animals.
All the animals. Ruby, what are some of your chores on the farm?
Feeding cats and calves and doing stalls and sometimes feed bugs.
Adam, what are some of your chores on the farm?
Wash, skip odor, sometimes clean feed bunks, clean up feed, and that's all.
So there you have it, friends. Just like you guys maybe have to make your beds or take out the trash or unpack the dishwasher, my kids do that too, but they also do a lot of stuff outside on the farm. Now, one last question for each of you guys before we move on in the tour. Ruby, what are some things you like to do when you're not on the farm?
Bake.
Adam, what do you like to do when you're not on the farm?
Go fishing and go on vacation.
All right, friends. Are you guys ready to see the rest of our farm? Let's go. Bye. All right, friends, I just thought I would show you our fresh cow pen, and we're gonna start with what we call our feed lane. And this is where all of our fresh cows, and a fresh cow is a cow that has had a baby in the last 3 weeks. And this is their pen, this is their home, this is where they live, this is where they eat, this is where they rest. Like I said, they've all had a baby in the last 3 weeks, and they kind of go in this pen so they can get some special extra care, some special extra love, so that we know that they're okay and that they're healthy. I will take a second here and I will just kind of hop down and I will show you their ration. It is also some silage. It is some straw blended in. There's some corn blended in. There's also a protein mix in here that helps them stay healthy, gives them the energy and the vitamins that they need. I know it's a little hard to hear me because the fan's on, but air circulation in spring in Minnesota is really important to our fresh cows and their overall health. And I'm just gonna hop up and show you guys their kind of overall pen. That pen is called a bed pack. Gives them a lot of space to lay. We bed our bed pack with corn stalks, which is dried corn that we harvest off our fields in the fall. And it's kind of cool. As part of our environmentalism program here, we spread the manure and we spread the used corn stalk back out in our fields. It's really great fertilizer that makes our corn and our hay and our grain crops grow really well so that we can make feed to feed our cows every year. Can you girls say hi? Can you say good morning? All right, friends, I just thought I would. All right. Our freestall barn is a really big barn where our mommy cows live. So I will walk down it and I will show you guys a couple cool features that we have, and you can see some cows as we go too. So there are about 200 cows in 2 pens in these barns. They each have a stall to lay in, and they each have plenty of bunk space to drink, and there are 4 water troughs in this barn, so they have plenty of water as well. The average cow drinks a bathtub full of water a day and eats about 100 pounds of feed. So I will show you that as we just kind of walk down here. All right. Good morning. Can you guys say good morning to the friends? All right. As you can see, they're all pretty happy. They've been milked about 2 hours ago, and we feed them right after they get back to the barn. So they will eat for about 20 minutes or so, and then they will kind of lay down and chill for the rest of the morning and afternoon. All right. Can you guys say hi to our school friends? So I'm just going to stop here. I'm going to show you guys the ration that's in here. As you can see, it's kind of a blend of quite a few things. Super tasty, and it smells really good. There's silage in here, which is basically a chopped corn all the way from the stem to the stalk that we usually chop in about August and September. There's some whole shell corn in here, and there's some hay. And it goes in a really big mixer called a TMR that we unload in here twice a day. So super healthy. All right, girls, you guys want to say hi to our friends? All right, so the cows in this pen have had a baby in the last couple months or so. So they milk on average about 90 pounds now. And this is where they eat and hang out. And I will just hop up and I will show you our free. All right, did you guys see our cows just chilling there? And a couple other cool features. This pipe on the top with the little spigot sticking out is a sprinkler system. It gets really hot in summer in the Minnesota, and just like you guys go to the splash pad or the pool, these sprinklers turn on, usually about every minute and 30 seconds. And you can also see we have fans all the way down both sides of the barn and across the middle. Those fans come on in the summer, and even sometimes in the fall and winter when it's not breezy. Cows like air circulation, keeps them healthy, keeps the barn fresh and clean. We bed our cows with straw. You just saw some of their freestalls. We bed them with straw just like we bed Pearl's pen. Keeps them clean and fresh and dry. All right, hi girls, can you say good morning to our friends? This is our second pen. These cows have had babies in the last about 2 months. They milk on average about 95 pounds as well. And you can see that their feed ration here is also kind of the same. And is your feed good today, girls? Is your feed good today? All right. All right, there you have it, friends. Can you say hi? Can you say hi?
All right. Thank you so much, Farmer Angie, for sharing with us your wonderful farm and everything that you guys have over at your cows. We're going to go ahead and see if we can get Farmer Angie to unmute and turn their camera on here, because we see all these great questions coming in that you all have. So hopefully they can go ahead and get that taken care of here. Oh, I see they were unmuted. And we just got to get that camera turned back on. We'll go ahead into gallery view a while. So we've got some great questions coming in. So go ahead and keep putting those in the chat. I know I learned a lot about Angie's animals and how they take care of them, and that the pre-fresh or the freshly fresh animals and those that have given a baby a few months ago have a different ration. So we'll see if we can get Farmer Angie to answer those questions.
All right, Brittany, before we move on to the questions, and I'm so excited to answer, it says that you disabled my camera, so you're the only one that can activate it.
Oh, no. I'm so sorry about that. Let's see if
That's okay.
we can do this. How does that work?
All right, it's back on. Yep. There we are. All right.
Oh, sounds good. Well, thank you again so much, Farmer Angie. That was absolutely fantastic. And we've got great questions rolling in. So let's see if we can go ahead and address some of these questions. So first of all, a really great general question. As a whole on the farm, how many animals do you have?
So we have 500 total animals on our farm. Those are everything from baby calves that were born this morning all the way up to our big milk cows. We have 3 chickens as well, and about 10 barn cats that kind of run around. And my kids really love the cats, but that's all we have for animals. We're hoping for a dog someday, maybe a couple pigs, but we'll get there.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. Somebody asked, what color are Pearl's eyes?
Let's pan in on Pearl's eyes here, and we can kind of check it out. Pearl's eyes are actually a really dark brown. Most Holsteins' eyes are kind of a dark brownish black color. You guys can kind of check them out there.
Aww. Oh, she's being camera shy. That's okay.
She's a little nervous today. She's not in her usual home, and takes him a little bit to get used to that.
No problem. Another great question that came in, why are some cows more white than black, or vice versa?
So some cows are more white and black, and some are brown, and some are red and white. It's just genetics. Like, every person's different. You may have blonde hair, you may have black hair, you may have darker skin, you may have whiter skin. It's just genetics based on who their cow parents are. Just like every human's unique, every calf and cow is unique as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A question that was coming in as well. How many acres do you have on your farm?
We have so the farm site itself is about 20 acres. And we have about 480 acres of straight up farmland that we use to plant crops to feed our cows with.
Okay. Now we are checking out Pearl, and here she is munching down on her hay. And as we look at Pearl, we see that she has kind of those earrings or her ear tags in. Why do they have earrings in, and why are there numbers on them?
So this is a super fun question, and I love this question. So as you guys can see, Pearl has 2 yellow tags in her ears. One is what they call our RFID tag, which is a radio frequency tag. And that is what we as farmers and what our vets and what the government uses to help us track our cows. How healthy they are, you can scan the code, it'll bring up a record of how healthy they are, if they've been sick, what they've been treated with. We use it for that. If we happen to go to sell her, it's a proof of where she's been and where she's going. And the other tag is the one with her name on it. That's specific to our farm. And that's so she grows up and as she's in a pen, we can identify her. It's got her birth date and her name on it. So if I go to the barn and I need Pearl Calf or I need her friend Amy in the next pen over, I can look at her and say, hey, that's her tag. That's the one I need. Kind of like you guys sometimes put collars on your dogs so people can find them. We put tags on our calves so we can find them.
Makes sense. Another great question that was coming in here. I just lost it. So, we showed the beautiful cows that you guys take care of. We're seeing Pearl. We're going to get to see Pearl's pen pretty soon and where she usually lives. That's a lot of cows to take care of. So someone asked, what time do you start working in the day and what time of day do you kind of end? Is it a 9 to 5 job?
Dairy farming is not a 9 to 5 job. We love everything we do here and we love everything about being here, but it is a lot of work. We get up about 4:30 in the morning and have our breakfast, kind of get ready for the day, have a little planning meeting of what's going to happen for the day. We start milking between 5 and 5:15 in the morning. And then we spend all day on basically animal care. If they should need some treatments, we work on that. We make sure they're fed. We make sure their pens are scraped and bedded. Kind of general animal welfare, animal care things we spend all day on. And when it's busy crop season, if we need to make hay, if we need to make the corn silage, if we need to make cow feed, we kind of take care of that during the day too. We milk again about 5 at night, between 5 and 5:15 at night. So it's basically a 12-hour schedule. And we try to end our day by about 8:30. Sometimes it's 9. So it's a really very long day. But the good news is we have an excellent team of people here that help us in Tower Dairy. We have a girl in a position called herdsperson that helps us manage the farm, helps us take care of our cattle. Her name's Emily, and she's completely amazing, and she works with us all day. And the other cool part of our farm is that we work with the University of Minnesota, and we have hosted, through a program they have called MAST, 24 kids from 12 countries in the past 10 years. And these kids come and live with us for a year. They work with us for a year on an internship. It's a paid internship, but they learn all about milking, they learn about making feed, they learn about basic vet care, and they learn about American culture. We are currently getting 2 girls from India, hopefully next week. Our last 2 were from India as well, but we have done everything from Colombia to the Ukraine to Uganda. We have hit every continent because our very first one in 2010 was from France.
Wow, that is incredible. So you have quite the team to take care of your animals, and it is pretty much around the clock job. So I hope that helps answer your questions out there. Now, I do want to say, I hope that doesn't scare anyone from wanting to get into the dairy industry because it is extremely rewarding, right?
It is amazing. It's a lot of long hours, but when you love what you do, it goes by really fast.
Absolutely. And kind of going off of that, I would just be curious to ask this for everybody else, and then we can address the rest of the questions after we get to see a little bit more of Pearl. But if someone was interested in getting into the career as a dairy farmer, maybe you're out there and you're in 8th grade and you're like, oh my goodness, I have to start thinking about this. I'm going into high school. Or maybe you're a first grader out there and dairy farming looks cool. You get to take care of fun calves like Pearl. Farmer Angie, how does someone go about doing that?
Oh, this is one of my favorite questions to answer. So since you guys are all in school, there's a lot of schools across the country that have stellar FFA programs. I would encourage everybody to get signed up, to get involved, to do what interests them with the FFA as they get old enough to do so. Also, there's so many great farm tours out there and farm events. I would look for those flyers. I would check those things out. And as you get older, farms are always looking for help and they're always willing to train. So if you think you have a passion for animals and you think that that's something you're interested in, reach out, ask, see what a farmer can do for you as well. 4-H clubs are another great way to get involved in agriculture.
Wonderful.
And I just like to add, there's a million ways to be involved in ag. Like cows are great and cows are what we do and we love cows. But if you don't love cows, there's 100 other options to keep you involved in agriculture because it's so, so important to our society.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you heard Farmer Angie, there is a way. If there's a will, there's a way. And if you want to be involved with cows, there's always somebody who is excited to help you along. Or, you can help with crops or be a food scientist or any number of things. So very, very exciting. So Farmer Angie, my goodness, we have great questions. I'm looking over at the chat right now. We have some great questions coming in. But we're going to go ahead. We've got one more video we'd like to share with you. And it's kind of a montage of a couple of videos that Farmer Angie put together of Pearl in her pen. So you get to see her eating, get to see her hang out with where she usually lives. And then we can certainly address any questions you have about that. And we'll take lots of time and Q&A time with you and Pearl and get some close-ups of Pearl here to finish out our chat. So we'll go ahead and get our screen shared so you can watch a little video of Pearl.
Hi friends, I just thought I would pop on for the second part of our tour and show you Pearl's pen. So right now, since it is spring in Minnesota, it is pretty warm out, and we move our heifers outside to a large group pen when it's warm. So Pearl can hang out with all of her friends. Here you can see some of her friends just kind of hanging out in the nice warm straw. Nice and clean, nice and fresh. I'll see if I can find Pearl for you. They kind of like to jump and move around a little bit. And here's my super friendly friend. If you guys all want to say hi to Pearl's friend here. All right. And Pearl's actually kind of stuck in the corner right now, but I will see if I can come back and get her again. But I just thought you guys would like to see all the rest of her friends as well. So we're back. I thought you wanted to see Pearl with my daughter Ruby. You can kind of do a little size comparison on my almost 10-year-old with my almost 7-month-old calf. Here she is. She kind of wants to run off and see the rest of her friends, but you can kind of see her playing on this lovely spring day today. I kind of wanted to show you a little bit more of Pearl's pen. And one of the best parts of living on a farm is that Pearl and her friends are super friendly. As you can tell, we're kind of standing in the pen and they're all super excited to see us. You can kind of see Pearl's ear tag there a little bit when she puts her head up. But it's morning and we have just fed our calf pen. They are currently snacking on a ration of dry hay with some grain thrown on top. It gives them the energy that they need, gives them the protein that they need to grow big, strong, and healthy. Just like when your mom says that you need to eat your hamburger and you need to eat your broccoli, it's kind of the same thing out here this morning. They're so fun to watch, aren't they, guys?
All right, so that was a little bit of Pearl, and we kept the video on this time. We just got to unmute Farmer Angie here to go ahead and bring her back. Oh, there she is. Wonderful. So there you got to see Pearl hanging out with her friends in her pen, and of course chowing down on the delicious hay that we saw Farmer Angie actually just feeding her a little bit ago. And oh, of course, lots of great questions coming in. So Farmer Angie, first I'll let you, if there's anything else you wanted to add to your video that you had talked about, maybe bedding or anything like that you wanted to share about Pearl and where she's living right now.
Okay, so Pearl, like I said earlier, is in a group pen. She gets fed with straw pretty much every day, so she stays clean and dry. Fresh air is actually really good for calves. Wide open ventilation, air circulation is what keeps them growing and healthy. So that's why she's outside. It's relatively warm in Minnesota now, so they do really good out there.
Awesome. So we've got some questions here. I'm just looking down through the list, making sure I'm getting them all. So a question that came in, how often do the cows go outside? And I guess you could talk about different, different ages, what they
All
are
right.
for different ages.
All right. So our cows, our milk cows, our biggest, oldest cows, they get outside every day. It is a little bit of a walk between their freestyle barn where they live and the parlor where they get milked. So we let them out and they kind of get to go around the lane and they hang out in a dry lot basically until it's their turn to get milked. So they can get exercise that way. They can see their friends. They get fresh air. Our calves pearls age are either in a building that has fencing that goes to the outside, or yeah, they're basically in a building that has fencing that goes to the outside. So they always have access to the outside. Our middle-aged heifers, the ones that are about to have calves, they also live in a shed that has fencing open to the outside. So they have a place to be warm and dry if it's raining, if it's wet, if it's snowing, if it's doing any of the weird things that Minnesota weather likes to do. But they also have the option to be outside if it's a nice sunshiny day.
Awesome. Other great questions. Let's see. How much slurry or manure does a cow produce in one day, and kind of what do you do with all of that manure?
So the average cow goes to the bathroom about 4 times a day. I've never actually weighed it to like figure out like the pound comparison or anything, but we scrape our freestyle barns twice a day. As the cows are being milked, those barns are empty. So we go in and we scrape them down, put fresh bedding down twice a day. And we basically scrape it with a skid loader and it goes into a big, giant, basically hole in the ground called a lagoon. And that lagoon is our manure storage for the year. So twice a year, we have a company come in and they pump out all of our manure. And the manure goes back on our field because manure, maybe your science classes have taught you a little bit about this, is really good natural fertilizer. And that's what helps make our crop grow. And as we do that, we work with the state of Minnesota. I live in Brown County, Minnesota. We work with people at the county to make sure that our manure is being applied in an environmentally safe and environmentally friendly manner. We test it, we test the groundwater around it. We make sure that the manure is going where it needs to go so that it can get us the best crop possible. Our calves, our little babies, we actually scrape those out with a pitchfork like once a week. That's one of my kids' jobs. Our heifer pens get scraped down probably once a week as well. And that all goes into something called the spreader because that's more dry manure. It's not as liquidy. And that gets hauled out in the field as well to use for future fertilizer.
Wonderful. We have 2 questions that came in and they kind of go hand in hand. So one was asking, where is Pearl's mom? And one was asking, where is Pearl's dad kept? So if you want to go ahead and address both the dam and the sire, that would be great.
All right, so Pearl's mom is actually in pen 2 of our freestyle barn currently. She's kind of hanging out, waiting to have another baby someday within about the next year or so. And she basically eats and sleeps and milks all day with her friends. She's kind of basically on a good little cow vacation now. She makes milk for us. She's in our freestyle barn. Pearl's dad, all of our cattle here are AI'd, which is short for artificial insemination. So Pearl's dad actually comes out of a frozen tank in a straw, and we breed our cows with that straw. It's kind of a complicated process. I will let somebody else address, but Pearl's dad is alive. He just happens to be on another farm that collects Pearl's dad to bring to our farm.
That is great. Yeah. So they both, are around. It's just not quite as animal-like, I guess you would say. We do it in a way to keep the animals safe, and so you can breed to the genetics that you are hoping for to have a healthier, nicer animal.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Oh, look at Pearl. Hello, Pearl. She's showing off her nose to all of you. I know someone had asked if you could pet her and just, so we could have her closer up. So awesome. So yeah, that way they can feel like they're with you there. So while we're giving Pearl some love, what is the oldest cow on your farm?
The oldest cow on our farm is about 10 years old. She's about 10 years old. She's had 7 calves. She milks really well for us. She's super friendly.
Awesome. That's
We
an old
try
clock.
to keep all of our cows here on average about 7 or 8 years. Longevity is something we take really good pride in here.
Yeah. And I know, to everyone that's listening, maybe 10 years doesn't sound very long, but think about it. They're having their first baby at 2 years old. We're stumbling still at 2 years old. So they mature much faster than we do. Do you have a favorite cow on your farm?
Do I have a favorite cow on my farm? I do. My favorite cow on our farm and my kids' favorite cow on our farm is 970. She's always that's her name, 970. She's always the first one out of the barn. She likes to have her head scratched. She always kind of comes in the parlor and likes to turn around and see what everybody's doing and likes to follow us around a lot. She's super friendly. All our cows are pretty friendly, but that one's really friendly.
So you brought up, that was a number. Someone had asked, do all of your animals have names?
Some of our animals have names and some of our animals have numbers. If it happens to be like an adopt a cow or one of my kids' favorites, she will have a name. But the rest all have numbers as names because it's an easier way for us to track what they're up to keep tabs on where they're at.
Yeah.
Numbers are just an easier record keeping system.
Sure.
Because we put them in order from the time that they're born, they go in order of when they're born. So numbers are easier to keep track of order than names.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a really great question, and I know your husband is helping you. He is our awesome videographer here, so maybe he can help answer this as well. How and why did you guys get into dairy farming?
How and why did we get into dairy farming? So, fun fact, I actually did not grow up on a dairy farm. I grew up on a crop and a hog farm. So, I grew up knowing pigs. My husband grew up on a dairy. Like I said when we started, this is a third generation dairy. He grew up helping his parents farm, and he's always just had a passion for the environment, a passion for the cows, and a passion for agriculture in general. So he grew up with it. He decided he wanted to continue that legacy. He decided he wanted a career in ag, and that's how we got involved in cows. So we've been married. It'll be 15 years in August. So I had a really fast learning curve when I first came here, but anybody is. So it's kind of testament to if I can learn cows, anybody can learn cows.
Hey, absolutely. Somebody asked, how many cows do you milk and how long does it take to milk them? And actually, if you wanted to talk about the milking process in general a little bit, we didn't have anything to show them for that. So if you wanted to go ahead and talk about that a little bit, that'd be great.
All right. So we milk about 250 cows on our farm. We take them, I talked about this earlier a little bit. We take them from our freestyle barn to our parlor twice a day. And a parlor is basically a giant building where we milk cows. And we put them in, we can fit them 12 at a time. They're in there takes about 8 to 10 minutes to milk out. They milk on average about 90 pounds. I alluded to that in the video. We have a machine. I wish I had one on me, but it's raining and I can't take them out of the parlor because they're all hooked to hoses. But we have a machine with suction that's like light suction, so it doesn't hurt at all, that we attach to the cow, and it draws the milk out, and the milk flows through a steel pipe into our bulk tank. And parlors are super cool because human hands never actually touch milk. It is one of the only food products in which a human hand is never touched.
Huh. That is pretty. So that means everyone can be rest assured that their food, anything that's dairy product, is 100%, safe and clean. It's yes, always going from sanitized things.
Definitely. And our milk is tested every time. Our milkman comes every other day. We have a big steel tank called a bulk tank that holds about 45,000 pounds of milk. That's 5,000 gallons. So if you could picture an entire aisle at the grocery store and times that by about 10, that's how much milk our bulk tank holds. And our milkman and our creamery test our milk every day to make sure that it's free of any bacteria, that it's free of maybe any medicine we may have used. So you can always rest assured that your milk and your dairy products are perfectly safe.
Absolutely. Another good question, and I actually don't think I know this answer either, so I'd be curious. How many male cows or bulls do you guys have on your farm, or do you keep any of them, or do you have any breeding bulls or anything like that?
So we actually do not have any breeding bulls on our farm. Some of it is space considerations. We just don't have space for a bullpen. On average, let me just take a second here and ask Farmer Davey. The breeding is not something I'm super involved in here, but he would know the answer to this. How many bulls do we have in our tank? All right. We rotate through on average about 10 bull selections. That's what keeps our genetics growing strong. It's kind of basically what keeps our genetics pure to make sure that we are breeding what we need to breed to who we need to breed it to.
Wonderful. Oh, this is a good question, and I don't know that I know the conversion. How old is Pearl in human years? Do we
How
have an
old is
idea of
Pearl
where
in
she's
evening
at
year?
right now?
So I always tell people that she is like an adolescent. She's about 15, 16, 17, somewhere in there. Like she's not quite a teenager. She's not quite an adult. Like I said, I'm not really sure there's a price comparison in there or there's or an age comparison in there, I should say. But I always tell people she's a glorified teenager at this point.
That makes sense. Another question, do your children help take care of any of the cows, or do they have their own cows that they have to take care of?
Can you repeat that question?
Sure. Do your children have any of their own cows to take care of?
They are, because they are 10 and 7, they're a little bit little for their own cows. I'm hoping to get them into some 4-H stuff as they grow up a little more, and then maybe they will get some of their own cows. But for right now, my cows are their cows. We all kind of share cows, but they definitely have favorites. I talked about 970 a little bit. That's a definite family favorite. Pearl here is kind of a definite family favorite as well.
So in Pearl's lifetime, about how many calves do you think she will have?
We hope that they have a calf about every year and a half or so. So in her lifetime, if she lives to 11, we would aim for about 7 calves.
That's incredible. So she could have 7 babies. Go
Yep.
Pearl. It would be a very successful and productive animal on the farm. Oh, I think we see one of your kids joining in.
Adam, do you want to come say hi to our friends? All right, this is my little boy Adam. He's 7 and he's in 1st grade. He's been busy helping our herds girl do some stuff, bedding down animals and kind of doing some general farm cleanup today. But he just wanted to pop on and say hi. Can you wave?
All right. Hey, Adam. Great. So we've got a couple other questions here yet, if you don't mind. So another one, how do cows make milk?
How do cows make milk?
Yeah.
That is a really good question. So cows make milk much in the same way that humans make milk, as something that all mammals do. And it is basically when you feed them, they produce milk through their mammary glands, and then it comes out in the bottom of their teat ends on their udder. Milk is a product of good nutrition. It is a product of a good, healthy, solid cow.
Wonderful. Let's see. How much milk is produced each day at your farm?
How much milk is produced each day on our farm? It's about 20,000 pounds. Our bulk tank holds, I talked about this earlier, 45,000 pounds. Our milkman comes every day, so it's every other day. Yep. So it's about 20,000 gallons a day, with 20,000 pounds a day. Sorry, which is about 2,500 gallons.
Yeah. 20. That's incredible. 2,500 gallons a day, folks, that they are producing. That is a powerhouse farm. How awesome. Let's see, we've got just a few other questions here. And then of course, if you have any other questions that you want to ask, throw it in the chat feature, but we'll go ahead and get these last couple of them answered. Do all of your cows get milked twice a day, every day, or are there cows that aren't milked every day?
So most of our cows do get milked twice a day, every day. It's what keeps them healthy. It's what keeps them growing. But we do have a pen of dry cows, and those are the ones that are about to have babies. So 2 months before their due date, they basically go to a special pen where they go on what we like to call a cow vacation. It gives them a chance to rest up for birth, for labor and delivery. It gives them a chance to eat, to make sure that they're healthy after they calve and that they can come back in the milking string good as ever. So we have about 25 to 30 cows at any given time that are hanging out in the dry cow pen waiting to have babies, and those we do not milk.
Well, that makes sense. Just like a mama who's about ready, a human mom ready to give birth. They're getting ready
Yep.
to have their babies. All their energy goes into making their baby. What happens if a cow gets sick? What's the
If a
process of taking care of them?
cow gets sick, we have a great team of people to help us take care of that. You guys know how sometimes you might get an ear infection or you might get strep throat. Cows get similar diseases to that sometimes too. And we work with our team of vets who come out and help us diagnose the problem, who help us prescribe medicine. And we listen to their expertise and what we need to do. Sometimes it's a shot, sometimes it's an oral medicine. It just kind of depends what's wrong with them. But we always try to work really hard to diagnose the issue to make sure they're treated the best way possible and the fastest way to get better. Sometimes they just need a little extra love and a little extra care. So sometimes we give them a special drink that kind of settles their tummies a little bit. It's basically a molasses sugar drink as well. Kind of gives them some energy. Sometimes we give them an IV with calcium if they're running a little low on minerals too. It just kind of depends, but we always work with our vet to diagnose the issue.
Yeah, absolutely. I think an easy question to answer. Are cows happy?
Cows are very happy. They are very social creatures. They're very easygoing creatures by nature. They're generally very happy and fun to be around. As you can see right now, Pearl's pretty happy. And I would bet that all of her friends out in the barn right now are pretty happy too.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. What is the youngest cow you have on your farm right now?
The youngest cow on our farm, we just had a baby calf born last night. So she's about almost 24 hours old, 18 hours.
Oh my goodness, that's precious.
Mhm.
And let's see. And I did have a question for you actually. Um, in our world that we're in today, we are dealing with a world of COVID. How has the pandemic affected you guys, or has it at all? Did you have to change anything that you did on your farm to address the pandemic? Anything around that?
So COVID, just like COVID's been an interesting experience for everybody that's watching now. It's been an interesting experience on the farm. Last spring when COVID first went down, there was a big shift in the milk market. So many people were used to eating out that they weren't cooking at home. They weren't buying as much in the grocery store because they were just dining out more. And it really messed up the milk supply for a little bit. They couldn't get enough fluid milk in gallons like you guys put on your cereal in the stores because it was all bulk package for restaurants. So our milk price when it was $20 like last February before COVID was 13 by the end of March. That's per 100 pounds of milk. So it was a big massive milk crash. But the good news is they did figure that out. They did have to figure out how to redirect some stuff in the food chain and the supply chain and make sure that if it wasn't going to restaurants, it was repackaged for grocery stores or local outlets. I think some of you guys have maybe seen the Farmers to Food Box programs or the free school lunch programs. They diverted a lot of dairy products that way, which helped kind of turn the milk price around. But it was a little scary for a while last spring to wonder what was going on. And we knew that we were growing a good, solid, healthy product and we had to keep producing milk, but it was kind of hard to watch it not be where it needed to be. On a more personal level, my kids ended up homeschooled for the last 2 months of school last year, like a lot of you guys did. And I think that was kind of one of the perks. Like they were on the farm, so they could be outside, they could run around. They still had a lot of things to do, even though all their activities were canceled. So that family time was really good for us. Because we're in Minnesota, Minnesota has a really good, solid COVID response. So by September, my kids were able to go back to school. We're all kind of working on vaccinations. Our team of employees, we had to change some protocol stuff make sure they were spaced apart 6 feet. We've all heard the 6-foot rule. The same thing applied on our farm as well with our employees. So just kind of took some management and figuring some things out, but we made it work.
Absolutely. Well, that is fantastic, and I'm glad, we've seen the dairy industry kind of reboot a little bit since everything happened last year, and
Yep.
it's great to hear that you guys have been doing well and
We
are
always
able
talk
to
about,
still.
I always talk to my kids about being resilient, and we talk about them being resilient. We talk about the dairy industry being resilient, and it definitely is.
Yes, absolutely. So I have one more question here, and it's actually pretty good. So it's important because it's something that looking at a cow, they look fluffy and cute all the time. How do you know when they're not feeling well, and how do you
How
know
do you?
when you need to take care of them?
That's a really good question, and I love that question. Identifying a sick cow is a lot like identifying a sick kid. Sometimes I just get kind of tired, like they don't want to get up and run around. Droopy ears is a big thing with our cows. Their ears, like Pearls, are all perked up and happy now. Their ears get a little droopy sometimes. They don't eat. That's a big one. We always kind of walk through the barn every day, check on who's eating, check on who's not eating. And if we notice one's not eating, we need to do some investigation with our vet then. And in our older cows, like we know how much they milk. Like we know that, say, one cow milks 90 pounds, one cow milks 75. If we have, say, 970, my favorite comes in the barn, and she milked 80 yesterday and she only milked 20 today, that's usually a good indicator of illness. And we need to maybe do some treatments and figure out what's wrong. So there's a lot of ways to identify a sick cow, but we can usually do it pretty quickly.
Great. Oh, we had one more come in here real quick, and goes back to with the pandemic a little bit, but can cows get COVID?
Can cows get COVID? So this is an interesting question. Cows cannot get COVID like humans can get COVID, but coronavirus that causes COVID, there are lots of strains of coronavirus that cattle and other farm animals can get. Coronaviruses have always been a thing in cattle, have always been a thing in farm animals, but so it's not the same strain, but it's a related kind of virus.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, Farmer Angie, these have been great questions. And to everyone out there listening, thank you so much for all these great questions and really getting a chance to learn about Pearl, learn about their farm and their family. Farmer Angie, do you have any last few words you'd like to say to wrap up our farm tour here?
I really enjoyed sharing Pearl with you guys all year, and I hope you guys enjoyed her adopt a calf write-ups as well. And I always tell my kids at school and every time I do these that if you have questions, please ask a farmer and we would be happy to talk you through whatever it is you need to know.
Wonderful. Well, Farmer Angie, it has been a pleasure working with you. And of course, it's been a pleasure getting to know Pearl. She is absolutely adorable. And we are so glad to see that she's growing really well and that we can see Farmer Adam there is helping out too and keeping her healthy. And it's just been a real pleasure. So thank you so much. Thank you to all of you for joining us live today. As a reminder,
Adam, can you wave goodbye?
Yep, go ahead. As a reminder, this is going to be recorded, so you can always come back and watch any piece that you want if you want some more information. And feel free to comment on it in YouTube since the chat feature will not be enabled after the live is over. So feel free to comment if you have any questions, and we'll do what we can to address them. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Farmer Angie, and take care, everybody.
All right. Thank you, guys.